Hello, this is Dorothy in the Done by Dorothy Studios, and we're here today working on our Purple Passion Altered File Folder Lapbook. What a mouthful. We're having a blast doing that. Again, if you're a new subscriber, thanks for joining the team, joining the family. You can find all the links and all of the previous videos will be in a playlist. So if you type in, like Purple Passion paper, it should pull it up. Or if you look, in our playlist, it will be on there. So we have, let's see, what have we done so far? We have went through the kit, the intro through the kit. We have painted and done our file folders, altered our file folders. As far as paint and, media wise, we have cut them into pieces and did everything we're going to do with them. And today we're going to be dealing with our envelopes. Now, we also painted our envelopes in a previous video. And again, these are going to look pretty crazy right now. They're pretty crazy. Now, one of my envelopes I want to keep as is. And I decided to actually do this one because it looks almost like it has like a field of lavender, and I love the way they came out through here. So this is actually going to stay the way it is. So when I glue this, and I didn't bring my glue to the table today. You'd think it would always be here, right? Okay, that's okay. So this is what our back is going to look like. It's just going to be but even it has like the small purple across it. And you have to realize that we have ephemera that we can use to decorate this, or maybe some really pretty purple lace across the back. But this is what our front is going to look like. And I wanted to keep one just because it looks different. And I love the little lavender field that it created at the bottom with the purples and the blues. So that one's staying the way it is. So we're altering these two today. And let me see. Let me grab my rag here and grab my brush and dry my brush out. I was using it earlier, so it was in water soaking. So I need to dry it out a little bit. So give me a second. I have our homemade Mod Podge. I will link the homemade Mod Podge video in the description box. We're going to be using a napkin today. And this is the napkin we're going to be using. I've actually already pulled the backing off this one, but we are going to be using this napkin and, doing some decorating with it. I really want to put something over in here, I think. And, I'm just going to go to ripping. And there are different ways you can do this. You can add water or whatever you want. I find ripping's just as good. I want to get rid of this dark purple line across the bottom. I really don't care for it. So I'm going to get some of this green though, because I do, like the green on there because it adds a little bit to the flowers. And I believe these are hydrangeas, or at least that's what they appear to be. Okay. Get all of my scraps out of the way here. I am using a Tim Holtz glass mat on the bottom just to protect my desk. See, I'm thinking like right about there would be really cool. I think I like that. And we may put a piece up here. I don't want this bigger piece. I think I'm actually going to pull it over where it covers some of that side. It's going to be on the other side too. Down some towards the bottom. So I think right about like that, we'll have to get rid of this, which is fine. And I'm just ripping some of this. And again, I am not particular with mine when I do them. I just sort of rip and go at it and call it good. So I'm going to turn this off here. I'm actually thinking of maybe letting this come down like this and up into there. That'll give us some decoration on our back as well. Actually, let's pull this over a little bit. And I think we'll do right like that, which is going to look like a lot right now, but I promise I'll put it. I like how the blue is pulling into there. So, I mean, it really adds some color. And this will add a small amount of decoration on the back. Actually, I think we could put this up here and have that there. And maybe put another little piece over in there. Let me pull this little piece. There's a corner over here that just has like a small little bit of color on it. So I think I'm going to pull that. And there is no rhyme to reason to this. It's just grabbing it, laying it on there, and deciding where you want to put it. And I think this, I'm just going to run down at the edge like that, just to add a little bit something on the back so it's not as bare. Let's see, is that what I want to do? Except I have to turn this around because make sure you watch your envelope top. So this is the actual way it'll be laying out. Actually, I think I'm going to pull this over a little bit. Might as well put some on that little flap back there too. Maybe up a little bit. Put this across that bottom line right there. There we go. Yep, I think that's what I'm doing, guys. So I'm going to shake up my Mod Podge. And this is in just one of the dollar store condiment bottles you can get for $1. And this is the homemade. I did add a little extra water to mine for this because when I do my napkins, I think the Mod Podge, if it's a little thinner, I personally tend to have better results. You may do better with a thicker Mod Podge. This is just what I think. So I just like sort of slapping it on there. And I am going to go ahead and Mod Podge my whole entire envelope. It will take a little bit longer to dry. However, I think it just adds a nice appearance to your envelope. I think, it adds that coating, thickens it up. It gives it more of like a leathery feel. And, I like that. So that's just how I like to do it. And let's see, put this over a little bit. There we go. And I just work with one piece at a time. And, by coating my entire envelope, and I like the wrinkles in mine. Some people don't. If you don't like wrinkles, then just work a little bit and get the wrinkles out. I actually like the wrinkles because of the texture. So that's just my thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this piece up here, though. It's just starting to go off the end. Let me throw that away. Or if not, I will have it stuck to the floor or something else before the day is over. Okay. And then I just sort of use the Mod Podge that's on there and move it around until I don't have any more space. I'm going to slide this over a little bit and then I just repeat. And I don't put a lot on there. I mean, there's a lot of, you're covering a lot of area of your envelope. And I just make sure I watch where, the line to where it was before was. I'm going to go ahead and when you put your Mod Podge on there, it's easy to drag it across. If it's too heavy in one certain area, you can drag it across and covered. And I like the texture that it creates too when you use it. Let's see, we're going to put this down here. I think I'm going to actually put it right here across this line. I'm going to put it's a little dry down there. It's not, dry enough it won't stick, but like having it a little bit wetter when I put my napkin down. There we go. Then we have our large one for up here. I'm going to put a little bit more through there just because this is a really big piece of napkin and I want to make sure that it's secure. And I don't mind if it hangs off the edge because once it dries, I can go back through and sort of trim that up a little bit. And it looks like I'm using a lot, but I really am not using that much. It just appears to be that way. Okay, so there is that. I'm setting this to the side right now and letting it dry. And a lot of times I will let mine dry overnight before I mess with them because I think they do better if they have a little bit longer time to dry. Okay, now we're moving on to this one. Let's go ahead and get our base down. I'll go ahead and cover the whole base of this one. And remember when you use your napkin that, the stuff that's underneath will show through, around and under and all of that. So. Okay. Okay. That on there, I'm going to grab my napkin. And I honestly was thinking about do not do this at home. If you only have one napkin, I would never suggest doing this. However, at my local Goodwill, I picked up these napkins and I got 2 packs. There was 4 packs in each one for $1 a pack. I have like 8 packs of this napkin, so I can be a little more. I won't say wasteful, but it can use a lot more, if that makes sense. Okay, so I thought I would do this one sort of heavy since we did spots on the other one. Then this one I would do with, a more complete napkin. And I'm actually going to go over all those little weird edges that are just randomly floating up and add those. Now, when you do use heavy napkin, you need to make sure you do an extremely good coat because the more napkin you use, the more chance that it could come up if it's not adhered completely. So, and this is just a simple 1-inch brush you can pick up from any place that sells brushes. Walmart has just a basic. You don't even have to go. You don't even have to go to the craft section. You can get them back in like the paint section. And if you go to the paint section, you're gonna get it a lot cheaper. And it's a 1-inch brush, so I mean, and you can check the bristles. It carries a lot more paint and such, so I sort of like it a little bit more. Okay. So there's that one. And see, I like all of it that's on there. So I'm going to switch out really fast with my first envelope that I did because it's starting to dry in a lot of areas. And just double check everything and make sure, like around the edges, that it's down, especially. I think I missed this one little spot down here. So, I mean, I just double check, and I do go along the edges and sort of do another coat, make sure that it's down really well, because that's going to be where if your napkin's going to come up and it's going to get all crazy, it's going to be on the edge. It's just the way that it works. Okay. Now see, this is already starting to dry. This is already dry, and like, this is what a regular piece of paper sounds like. Then this has that, still some more of a sandpaper sound. That is from the texture that it creates. Let me hold it up and see if you can. And if you've never, I know a lot of people have, but if you never use it, it really does. You can see the lines that it creates, almost like brush strokes. And I like that because when it dries, you get that brush strokey feel to it. Okay. So I'm going to set this to the side to dry on my other. I have 2 glass mats. Okay. Then I'm going to grab, I have to look, I got to find it. When I printed my cardstock, let me grab it really fast. There is a couple pieces of cardstock that are really light. Like this one's pretty much all white. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to tear off all of the little dark edges, or like any straggly bits like this that's left over on my napkin. Like that. Even this little bitty piece like this, I'm going to go ahead and tear it off because I can use it. And you could take a water brush or even a damp Q-tip and go across the edge, and it will, if you wet it, it's going to pull off a lot easier. I actually happen to like the more raggedy edge that it creates when it's dry. Yeah, some people like that really fine edge, and I just sort of like it all rippity looking. I'm just going to go ahead and tear this off. Okay, so that can go over there. And there's actually 2. There's one that's like a cream color and one that's a white. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my napkins. I think this one I'm going to start with the biggest piece that I have. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Mod Podge it on to this cardstock, and I can use this for tags, pockets, all kinds of anything that you want decorative paper for. You can use it for, and it's an easy way to do it. Or you can do the individual tag if you want to. I sort of like it when it's off the edge. That's just me. And then what I'll do is I will Mod Podge it on here, and then we'll like say we're doing a tag. And then when I make my tag after I sew and all that, then I'll Mod Podge on top of it. You just have to be extremely careful because it will get sticky on you. I actually like doing my tags, and then if you go the Mod Podge brand, they actually have a spray sealant that works really well too, that I like, that sort of seals it in so it's not all crazy and sticky. Because if you put it on too thick, it will get really, really sticky, and your tags will stick to each other and inside your journal, and it just creates a nasty mess. And nobody wants a mess like that where something's all stuck together. The last thing you want to do is, you know, work your bottom off making a journal to give as a gift or to sell or whatever. And, you know, you pull it out when you're getting ready to do whatever you're going to do with it, and everything's glued together. Not good. And again, I like the wrinkles in mine, so I just brush right over the wrinkles. I know some people like getting it really thin, you know, and nothing like that. I actually like those. I just pounce it a little bit where the wrinkles are, and I make sure that, you know, you don't get the air bubbles between them. That's the big thing, because if you have air bubbles, it will pop and peel and rip and tear and all that. Isn't that the pretty? Doesn't that make the prettiest paper? And then I have this. Well, that'll work just about right. And I'm just going to, you know, cover as much of the page as I can. And again, like I said, I have a ton of these napkins, you know, because sometimes when you get napkins, if you buy them, you find them in the pack, you know, at the Goodwill or the Dollar Tree, or, you know, on clearance somewhere, or, you know, even if you buy them new at, like, say, Tuesday mornings and you get a big old pack of them, you know, you have 30, 40. I mean, you share them in swaps and all that, but we'll have extras. And my big goal for 2021 is really using up what I have. Because, you know, my scraps, and I've got, you know, totes and totes of napkins, and it's like, I need to do something with these. So, thus, we are using more of our scraps. Like this, I mean, that's just the little ripped bits off of it. And I mean, you can just, you know, rip a little bit, whatever you have. And I'm just going to use up my napkin. Starting to get dry. And there we go. So I have one whole page ready for tags or whatever. And the white that shows through doesn't bother me, because I can go through and I can ink that after it dries. So I'm going to set this to the side to dry and pull out the next page. And I don't have a lot of napkin left, so I'm going to cover. I'm trying to use up what I had there so I don't have to put it in my scrap place. And again, I printed this on a desktop, so with Mod Podge of any sort, there is a certain amount of water in there, so, you know, your ink is going to get sort of goofy. I mean, I'm going to put more over here because I have to put this one there. Oops. And I mean, I do have an extra napkin if I need to rip some. And then again, come back with a little Mod Podge. And you, like I said, you always want to make sure it's dry before you start working with it, because it will go crazy if you don't. Okay. My thoughts are, if I can get this on here somewhat straight. If I can get this on here straight, I'm thinking this would be perfect. That's pretty straight, I think. Sort of. It doesn't have to be completely straight. And again, I'm going to just put that on there. That's going to create a bottom. I can cut this and make a tag, you know, like up through here and have 2 tags and have that across the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is take this other piece that I have and I'm going to run it across the top. And then I can, you know, trim it up or whatever and cut off whatever I need to. But I want all to have the same sort of texture. So run my Mod Podge across all of it. Just really moving that around and sort of creating lines in the ink, which is sort of adds a whole nother effect by itself. Okay. And then this piece is wickedly crazy, so sorry if I'm really quiet. I'm trying to concentrate and trying to do this and look over the top of it. It makes it a little harder to do than, you know, doing it where I'm looking directly on. Oh, I lost a piece. Well, so we're gonna end up with a small one and a large one because that piece came off, but it's okay because no biggie. And again, make sure you get it all Mod Podge down. So what I'll do is I'll cut along this bottom and I'll cut along, well, I don't have to cut along here because it's the top. Let me unstick that real fast before it glues it on there. And then where this broke there, I'll do a small one here and then do a larger one, and it'll have, you know, sort of this design along the bottom and the top of it. And then I've got this here to use for something, which I can do like a straight. Maybe this would be a nice insert for my envelope, and it's sort of longer, which will make it nice. So I can cut that and it'll be over here where you can write over it, but it'll have this over here. Then this I'll do here, and then I'll decorate the back of it, and it'll have a long one to there. So let me put that in water, put my lid on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and sort of rip this little corner off over here. I'm going to throw away the tidbits of my napkin. So I used all of my napkin except this. I am fine with, you know, getting rid of that. I would say that's beyond scrap size. Okay, so we ended up with 2 of our, oh, and of course I'm going to drop it on there. The thing with decoupaging napkins, it's always forgiving. So I did 2 of these pages. One to do, this is going to be inserts. My other one to make pockets and inserts or even flips with. I mean, and I could do that with some of these. I could do this and, you know, put my 1/2 inch here or even over here where this lines up to the base. And then you have a flip out with, you know, decorated and a journaling spot on it. Then we can decorate the back with whatever. So I'm going to let these dry. So we have the 2 pages and our 2 envelopes that we did. And then of course, we have our envelope that we're keeping the same. I'm actually going to move this because even though I'm keeping this envelope the same, I do want to Mod Podge it to, just because you're going to be opening up your envelopes. You're going to be, if you know, you put them in a journal and somebody's using it, you're going to be using those. So you're going to be opening and shutting them, and Mod Podge just adds a little bit more security, I think, to them. A little more bulkiness, you know, to keep them. I had put my brush in water, so I'm drying it out real fast. So, you know, it adds a little bit more. So this doesn't have to be a heavy coat. This is just for the sake of longevity for our envelope. You know, let us know what you're thinking about the purple kit so far. I know some people are not purple fans. This kit, even though it's purple, it sort of isn't. It's not all purple. Because it features a lot of lavendery type things, there is sort of a blue tone to it. So I know, some people that don't like purple, you've got the lavender, which is almost a pink color. You've got the blue. It doesn't have to be just purple. I mean, that's what I named it. When I was little, my grandmother's bedroom, she had lavender walls. They were like, right over here in this edge, that lavendery color. And I grew up, and that was, my dad is one of 9 boys, and well, there's 3 living now, but was one of 9 boys, and my dad's the youngest, so I'm the only daughter of the youngest son, and there's not that many girls anyway, because they just had oodles of boys. And now my cousins there are, but they're a lot older. And I was named after my grandma, so we were always really close. And so, that purple bedroom is like one of the memories of my childhood that is just forever ingrained in my heart, which is probably maybe the reason why I love purple so much. I don't know. I may have acclimated to that as a child, maybe your environmental factors, and we were always outdoors, and I love gardening and herbing, dealing with herbs and all that. So I think that's where the green comes from. So I think that does have an effect on us, our atmosphere, our environment, in the colors that we choose, the colors that we like, the colors we're passionate about. And so I think, as I created this kit, my grandmother was forever in the back of my mind because there was just purple, and it just, so it does hit a little closer to heart for me than maybe some of my other kits. And I absolutely love it. So we've got this done. So we have all 3 of our envelopes Mod Podged and done. 2 of our base card stocks that we printed done to use as inserts, tucks, flips, whatever. So tomorrow we will be back. We will glue our envelopes. We will cut our inserts and tags, all of that kind of stuff we're going to cut. We'll do that. And of course, our file folders, I'll show you the sewn file folders and all of that. And that's probably what we'll do tomorrow, getting all of that cut and glued and ready. Then the next video, we will be working on our pages, our papers, and our decorated digital pages. I did mine on white because my full thought was to stencil the back, maybe some spray, stencils, things like that. So we will be doing that one day. Then we will start putting it together. It's going to go together really fast once it goes because we're creating all the pieces. It's like, you create all the pieces, everything's done, then it's just literally putting it together. So that's what we will be working on shortly next week. And we may be finished up by the end of next week because it's not going to take long to pop it out once we get it done. We do have some decorating and things like that. And I want to add some charms. I've got some beads. I will show you those tomorrow. I actually picked those up at Walmart. Or I'll show you those in the next video. I picked those up at Walmart. We've got flowers, and I've got my little lilac flowers. We've got some ribbon. I've got some purple lace. So we will put it all together. So we got this done for today. Thanks for tuning in. All the links I'll put below. Yeah, and we will be back for the next video. We will be back, and we will see you then. Stay safe and healthy. Bye, and have a great day.